morning, good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to episode 75 of the Leading IT podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the state of AI and recruitment with Chris English, the CIO at Randstad. And if you're new to the podcast, our podcast is for Australian IT leaders who want to cut through the noise on AI, cybersecurity, data, cloud, infrastructure, strategy, and leadership. I'm your host, Josh Rubens, CEO of Imperial IT, and my co-host is CIO Tom Leyden, and we tackle the fast-moving IT landscape from both sides of the fence with pragmatic advice you can actually use. So, g'day, Tom, and welcome, Chris.
G'day, Josh. Good to be back.
All right, nice to have you. With us, Chris. Do you want to, before we get into the news, give us the audience a brief intro on who you are and your background and your role at Randstad?
Thanks, Josh, and thank you for having me on the podcast. Thought you'd never ask, but looking forward to the next hour or so that we have. So I'm Chris English. I'm the CIO at Randstad, a leading global recruitment HR company. I run a CIO for Australia, New Zealand, and Southeast Asia. That's my patch. Southeast Asia covering Singapore, Malaysia, and Hong Kong. And we run I can go into a bit of detail later, but we run a pretty similar IT stack, mainly proprietary systems from a front, mid, and back office across the region. And a distributed team. We have a large development team, or teams that run out of Malaysia and India, and more of the leadership team based in Australia and New Zealand.
Okay. Well, yeah, looking forward to fascinated about the chat and the recruitment game is one of the ones being most disrupted by AI. So, yeah, really looking forward to hearing about your journey there. Tom, do you want to start off with some news? Do you want to go first today?
Yeah. I've got two items. First one is, I think really interesting, is the RBA, Royal Bank of Australia, released some information on technology investment and AI today, 13th of November. A really interesting article. It's worth looking at. But basically what they're saying is that Australia is very conservative in its uptake of AI compared to the rest of the world. That people aren't really moving on beyond personal productivity tools such as Copilot, ChatGPT, and they're very cautious about investment. However, they are looking to ramp up investment over the next 3 years, probably the most significant increase across the IT suite. While things like cybersecurity remain flat, internal software, cloud computing goes down slightly, but AI will increase. Interesting again is that a lot of the large firms surveyed are saying that it will impact jobs, but a lot of the medium and small businesses are saying that it will increase jobs as well. So as they use more AI and machine learning, they're going to get more people to drive it. Whereas big firms are looking at AI and machine learning to reduce workforce. So really interesting as a rebalancer across the small organisations to compete with the big boys, and big boys have to cut costs, right? That's quite interesting, I thought.
Yeah.
I think, Chris, are you seeing some of that too? You'd be in that space.
Yeah, I think I resonate with your comment about Australia being a little bit cautious on the adoption. We see in Southeast Asia, particularly from an efficiency and end user point of view, the uptake seems to be stronger up into India as well. But it's changing. I agree with your statement on that it will create more jobs than it will replace. And I say this to my own team. I started in the industry 25 years ago, and if I look back at what I did when I started, none of those jobs are relevant anymore. They're all automated, not AI, but automation's taken over, right? Or they've gone.
Exactly.
The big tech companies handle them now. So if I broke down every task I do, apart from answering the phone, which largely is also irrelevant these days, it's gone. So the shift has been changing for a long time. It's just probably escalating at a bigger pace now. And
I'm also seeing
more fear.
Yeah, right. And I'm definitely seeing that the people I talk to, everyone gets to personal productivity, they get that. but they've really struggled to turn that into genuine business cases to drive transformation driven from AI. And I think we'll talk more about this in the podcast, I think. But clearly
Yeah.
there needs to be a bit of a breakthrough, like a burst of the dam in this space.
Yeah, I think from that resonates as well. I think definitely, the usage is personal productivity and and tools embedded in applications that vendors are releasing. So it doesn't require the users to really do anything besides make sure the security is good. So that's happening. But as far as custom AI, that seems to be
People haven't
a
got it
little
yet.
slow, except for at Randstad. So Chris is gonna talk about that. But I'm interested in that. I'm interested to see how that plays out relation to small versus large, and why they think it's going to create jobs. I'm not sure whether that's just sentiment or whether that will really play out that way. But I'd like it to be that way. Definitely, I think that would be interesting. All right, I have more boring news today. So but you seem to. I struggled today. It was a bit of from a news point of view. But so the main bit of news I saw was Veeam. I don't know if you guys know. You got Tom. You'd know who Veeam is. Chris as well. So Veeam is the leading data protection vendor in the world. They've acquired Security AI. So for $1.72 billion.
Yes.
So it's just been announced. So Security AI is the leader in data security posture management. Now, if people did listen to our Shadow AI episode with Dave Stevenson, Microsoft have released their data security posture management. So that is a category, a new category. Gartner coined it in 2022, data security posture management, and it is rapidly growing, and AI is really driving the growth in it, because it's about it gives you visibility into what's going on and the ability to block shadow AI and visibility across all your data. So a single glass of pane or pane of glass across, on-prem, cloud, SaaS, with granular controls, and then, which will become more important as people roll out AI agents and identities. And it's quite a complex problem. And so again, this is growing, and I think they're in the leadership position currently with Gartner and a number of the other vendors. So it's a massive acquisition in the space. And what in the press release, and I had a chat to the guys at Veeam this morning. So I think the idea is that they'll combine Veeam and Security AI into a single view. Their main product, the Security AI's main product, is called the Data Command Center, which gives you that visibility into all your data. But with Veeam, you'll get visibility onto your production data, but also your backup data and your secondary data. So, and the ability to, if you have a problem, with AI data, to roll back an LLM. So if you have a private LLM or a data set and it's corrupted, you'll be able to restore it back to a known good point. And same with agents. So I think, it seems like a smart acquisition for Veeam, and it sort of gets them, I think, into more relevance in the AI space beyond just doing backup and data protection. And one other thing that Security AI has is an enterprise search tool called GenCore, which is, they're saying, is the equivalent of Glean. So giving you that ability to have, visibility across all your unstructured data, and then having that, the data security posture management. So I think it's big, and I think there'll be a lot of, push into accounts, because Veeam is in. Most customers have Veeam, and I think there'll be a big drive to upsell that into their customer base. So I thought that was I thought that was big news.
It's a big problem, and because AI is such a Wild West space, right, that everyone's got their own way of using it, and it's such a personalised view. It's not a centralised corporate view at the moment, and, as per the RBA results as well, that you need to control where your data is going and where it's going out, right? So everyone needs these kind of tools, and they need to understand how to protect it. So it makes loads of sense. You can see why they spend so much money. I would like a piece of that money, though, Josh, if I just could be smart enough.
Yeah, good acquisition. I think you're right. The you can't just stop. Well, there's a few opinions on this, but you can't just block all AI to your workforce, right? But you can't just open it all up and expose your company to risk of data privacy.
Yeah.
Very
So
good.
expect lots of calls from Veeam reps and Veeam resellers about upselling this stuff.
They'll make their money.
All right, Tom.
Yeah. One more
to
for
you.
me. Speaking of AI, so someone put me onto these guys. Even Realities, evenrealities.com. They've got some eyewear that look actually quite useful, unlike the meta version. They're glasses. They're somewhat nerdy, but they're pretty cool. They're just normal glasses. They transmit like a green screen onto your heads-up display, and you control it with a ring. So you've seen those personal ring things that people have got that you can try to flog. Well, basically, you use the ring to turn it on and off and interact with it. But basically, what it'll do is things like you ask me a question, it'll go and ask AI and then project the answer onto my glasses, so I can then seem a lot smarter than I actually am. So I don't know. I feel like there's something there somewhere that someone will crack, and we'll all have these bloody glasses one day. I don't know if this one's it, but it's worth having a look at the moment. I mean, how good, Chris, in interview?
More people walking around talking to themselves.
I mean, if you're in a job interview and you've just got the answers coming out, just straight. I bet people are doing that online, already. So, you just see how many people want to use this.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. All right,
Have you
Chris,
got one, Josh?
No, this isn't that big. I said it was a tough news day. This is a bit relevant to you, Chris. So Google is introducing its own version of Apple's private AI cloud compute. So Google's rolling out a new cloud-based platform. So when you use AI features on your device, such as translation, audio summaries, chatbots on device, or Chromebooks or whatever, the data doesn't leave your phone, which Google's saying is not sustainable, given the growth in advanced AI tools. So they've created this private compute where it will go out to this cloud instance, do the more labor-intensive work and give you the answer, but it will be private. So your data will not leave that space.
Yeah. So it goes out to a larger interface, into like data center, but that data center is controlled.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's a secure, fortified space, which the sensitive data is available only to you and not even to Google. Apple have released something quite similar, their private AI cloud compute. So yeah, on the news front next week, on the 18th, is Microsoft's biggest annual conference, Ignite. So that will be a huge amount of news. So our next episode, you can expect less lame news from me. So hopefully there'll be a lot there. We'll do an episode, as we always do, on Ignite, because that's where Microsoft really roll out the the fire hose, and there'll be a lot of stuff for us to talk about.
Sure.
All right, let's get into what we're here to talk about today, Chris. So you gave a bit of intro on yourself. Maybe do you want to talk about Randstad as an organisation and what they do for people who don't know much about Randstad?
Yeah, sure. So we are an HR company. We at the core recruit. We placed people in jobs. I think last year alone in 2024, we placed 1.7 million, or found work for 1.7 million talents around the world. So we cover most industries. So we have a large contingent workforce who we payroll. We provide technology around the apps and workforce scheduling. And then we cover, when you get into more professionals and what we call perm recruitment, we have teams that partner. That's where you get more of that human interaction and value from that. The human and the loop there at that part of the journey in your career, very personal part of people's life is, finding a house, finding a job is something they want to be guided with, and we have professionals that will coach and ready people for the big interview, and also find suitable employment for them at companies which fit their culture and their aspirations, their values. That's what we do. So, in a nutshell, cover quite a few industries, like I said, from digital to HR, education, healthcare, nurses in hospitals, aged care, right through the professional ranks from legal to IT. We're a large digital recruitment business.
And do you want to tell us a bit about your AI journey? So I know you've had some chats and you're doing some really interesting stuff in AI across internal, external, consultant level. Yeah, maybe tell us a bit about what you've been up to.
Yeah, sure. So as you said in the intro, I think AI has potential to be quite a disruptor in our, and already we are seeing that in our industry. Where we're at, and I'll talk specifically, I'll talk a little bit about global, because we are a global IT organization, but we do work, it's global for local. We connect with the local businesses and provide the tech for their day-to-day work, but also for finding work and looking after the talent and clients. So where are we at with AI? So when I look at AI and recruitment, I sort of frame it in three areas. We have the workforce, our own workforce, and providing the efficiencies for them. And we're a big, you mentioned Google earlier, we are a Google shop, we like to say. We run GWS for the entire organization globally, and part of that we offer Gemini for all of our employees. So that's the local workforce and the efficiencies there. Then we look at the whole recruitment process, and this is where if you go on LinkedIn, you'll see you feel like you're missing the boat a little bit, because all the vendors and salespeople are out there promoting. However, you're not on the bus, you'll be irrelevant in whatever it is, a year or 6 or 2. But there are some big opportunities there in recruitment, right? And I talk about, if I can give you a bit of an insight into the recruitment process, finding people work. We've got a sourcing piece, which is a reach out to find suitable talent for work. We've got the screening part, whereas you might put an advert out and you get 15,000 applicants, and screening those to get to the 5 that the client wants to interview is a large part of our process and a part of the business, and it is time consuming. Now screening's an interesting one, because if you're screened out, and it's a problem in the industry, is we struggle to get back to those 10,000 or 14,000, whatever it might be, to give them a really good update on why they're not being considered for the role. And that's something we need to be better at, and that's something I see a real opportunity for AI and with a human in the loop to help with. Then we have matching, so you've got your talent coming in with all the skills, and then you've got your clients coming in on the other side with the jobs. Opening that up globally for people who are interested in working locally or traveling internationally, and matching the skills to the job description. I guess getting that right is something that's not new to our industry. We've used a lot of automation and smarts along the way for that, but AI, I think, can play a really important piece there, and speed and accuracy. But also comes with its challenges, which I'm sure we'll talk about. The next part is scheduling. So, okay, we've got our 5 or 10 people. Let's get into the calendar of the client and there show the availability and take the administration out of lots of back and forth and trying to find times. Get this scheduled and off to interview. Now the interviewing part is something a lot of businesses are delving into, and that's your video, your AI chats, and that can be built into some of those earlier processes to screening. Hey, I'm an AI chat. We've trialed some with Google and some of their partners, which are really, really smart. They can change your gender, your accent, nationality, whatever you want to, however you want to play with it, and have that initial 3 or 4 questions to ask someone and to screen them through the process. So that's a lot of opportunity, as I mentioned there. But we as an industry, or Randstad as a business in Australia, we need to look at where we want to play and what we want to be as a business, right? So, and then use the tools to get you to that destination, or to reach the strategic sort of initiatives that you've got in place. The risk I feel with AI is you can start to let that drive your business or your strategy, because you start to hop on the next great thing that's coming out, and you can easily get a bit lost if you take that approach. So it's really finding out of those pieces that I mentioned, where you'll get the value from. And as Tom mentioned earlier, it's a really important point, is you need to be able to at times bank the investment you've made, and there's so many great things out there. It's choosing the right one. They all look good. They're shiny toys and fantastic to talk about, but are they really providing you the business value that you're investing in? Or are they just providing extra time in your day so you can, I don't know, have a bit more time at the beach, or what are you going to do with that time that you save and the efficiencies that you make for your people? And then the next part of that is time and attendance, what we call the mid-office and back office. Again, this is where I see some great opportunities, and we're working with some vendors at the moment to pilot or proof of concept, more so at the moment, with your time and attendance, your mid-office, which is more agentic AI, the repetitive process stuff that we go through to process 10, 20, 30,000 timesheets a week for our contingent workforce, and then invoicing and providing pay slips, that type of function. I saw in a report recently where they, I think it was on another podcast I heard it, but it was talking about that back office, mid-office, back office function and the opportunity there, rather than the sales side of the front office. And I think they were, and which I completely align with, that's where you get some sort of bankable wins, as compared to the more on that front office part. Then we get to the, sorry, I've forgot to cover the development cycle, which is for me in my role, we have a team of developers in Malaysia and India, and we're really providing tools to them to help them with their efficiencies. And you talk about the impact on jobs, and hey, you can get is the job of a developer, what's that looking like in 5 years? Yes, it'll be different, but we're not seeing it as an efficiency, a bottom line gain from a FTE point of view. We have 2 years of backlogs of great initiatives and development that's needed on our systems, and if we can speed that up through some tools that our developers are currently using, it's a real win for the business. At the moment, we're using GitHub Copilot for a re-platform project, starting to see some really good efficiency returns on that. Gemini Code Assist, we've got Kiro and a little bit of Amazon Q. So really good tools. And when you look at that software development piece of the business, which we're starting to call AI-driven DLC, I'm not sure if you've heard of the term, but it's another acronym that's coming through. They're really smart tools, and we're playing with them at the moment, but and seeing some. We have actually a competition internally for our teams to provide how they've used these tools and show the efficiencies they've gained, just to get a bit of fun into the into the delivery. Finally, we look at Atlassian Rovo Dev, Notebook LM, and Catalog Studio Assist. Some other tools that are helping with efficiency of our developers. The last one there, Catalog Studio Assist, helping to automate test cases. So we're seeing some real opportunities in the QA test environment from automation and AI.
Yeah,
very good.
So on the just going back, so are you using AI tools at the moment for that recruitment process to do? It sounds like there's really good opportunities around looking at, the 10,000 CVs that come in. So on all those steps, are you using AI tools at the moment? Like, what are you still working through?
From a CV formatting point, we've partnered with a company, Allsorter, really good tool in that. I won't go into the details of the efficiencies gained there, but it was more around speed to market. So we were previously sending CVs offshore to be processed. If you've got a client that wants 5 or 10 CVs of the best talent for a particular role or roles, we want to send them in a professional manner and in a format that's they've asked for, or that we want, that are part of the business, if it's digital or professional, that we how we want to send it, and we want to. Some CVs, as you've probably seen, are 10 pages long with videos and stuff. We want to simplify them and standardize them so the client will see 5 CVs and they can make a really good comparison quickly, because they can set up the same way. So, and from a professional brand piece, you want to have good quality output, and making sure that all of our workforce are addressing our clients in a similar way, or a way that we've agreed. There's a term in the industry called CV flicking, and it takes the value out of the recruitment process if someone's just taken a group of CVs in and forwarding them onto a client, and they're going in all sorts of conditions and qualities. So CV formatting, we use the tool which uses the AI on the cover letter part of it. So it will take out some key items out of the CVs and format that into a cover letter, and then we'll have a consultant in the loop there. We'll check over them and then send them on to the client. So with that tool, we can process CVs in a couple of minutes. Previously, was taking up to 12 or 24 hours to go.
Wow.
To have it done manually offshore and come back.
Yeah.
You know what happens in that time? Another agency or another, your competition's in and may have beaten you to that role, because clients are often multi-agency.
Yeah.
Can I?
And other ways, we're probably, Josh, to answer your question, the piloting some tools. If I look overseas, I won't talk specifically to other markets. They are using some. We are. Some of our organisations are a little bit ahead. We look at digital and Randstad Enterprise. They provide solutions for clients at times where they'll partner with the client. So a little bit of POCs and pilots happening, but nothing on a large scale shift where we've said, hey, all of our screen is now going through this this AI bot yet.
And what about the interviewing piece? You mentioned, is that already happening, or what's the where a bot can ask the first 4 questions or something and then go to?
Yeah, we've trialled those out of India.
Yeah.
And I know there's from a global perspective, we're not looking at developing something locally in that space. I know our global team are quite invested in that opportunity, and we'll wait for something to come out through those channels. But the one I mentioned to you was something we piloted, sent out to our directors, and said, "What do you think of this?" And that was probably 18 months ago, and it blew us all away, right? It's the quality of the voice and the way you could change around who it was, where they were from, whether it was accented. I played around, been a Kiwi myself. We had some laughs with some Kiwi accents, which they hadn't quite got right 2 years ago, but I'm sure it'll be better now. But really good tech. To go back to my earlier part, great to play around with that stuff. Implementing it at an enterprise scale is a different story, right? It takes a fair effort, and there's a lot of roadblocks along the way.
Yeah, and I assume getting that through legal and compliance would be a real challenge, and dealing with bias and whatever else, that would be hard. I don't know how they're going to solve that, but I think that's. Sorry, Tom. You look like you were going to say something?
Sorry, and that's awesome, Chris. Really appreciate the breakdown of how you're
really
doing it. But what I take away from that is that you understand the business processes, and then you're looking at how AI interacts or changes each individual process. And then you also, what you're really good at, you're just describing what's important in that process. So if I use AI in this area, it's going to enable the business to do this thing. Now, it's really refreshing to hear that, because I think that's where a lot of people struggle. They go, "Oh, AI, we've got Copilot," but what they really need to do, people in your role, they need to understand the business process and then work out how AI explicitly changes the dial for that specific process. And I think that's where the
starting with the tool. Yeah, rather than starting with an AI tool, you're actually looking at the business, and I think that's probably the key to your success. It strikes me that someone could go to market a lot cheaper, and you can tell us if it's already happening, by doing everything using AI, and then saying, well, we can charge a much lower recruitment rate because we're doing everything using AI, and what that's going to mean to players like yourself. There'll have to be a place for it. People want the human touch, definitely, but I think, I don't know, just feel like legal, like so many other things, right? It feels quite ripe for disruption, Chris. I'm keen to hear your view on that and what you think Randstad's going to do.
Yeah, and we've seen that, Josh. And in Australia, there's competitors have come out, and they can be very agile because they're a startup. They can take a sort of a Booking.com and Uber approach to recruitment, and they can have some success with that. Turning a startup tech business around is a lot easier than turning a larger organisation around. However, some of those that we've seen disrupt and that we've watched pretty closely have come in with quite a bit of hype. Haven't always spoken nicely about some of the competitors in the industry, but then they've sort of slowed off or eased off, as I would imagine clients and talent have seen. Well, clients particularly have seen wins in the cost space. Someone's coming in, they can deliver a great process. They've got flashy apps and everything, and they can deliver it at a much lower margin. Sounds great. Move to them as time goes on. Do they have the talent pools to provide to the centres? Yes, they've got the technology. Are they, from a compliance point of view, are they sending talent out to schools? to hospitals that are properly vetted, and have had some, maybe going to a warehouse. We put a lot of effort, which it's very difficult to automate, and some physical tests before we'll send someone out to a warehouse or a factory to ensure that they can pick up that 20 kilogram box and can cover some of the duties that will be required and quite taxing on their bodies. So it's an interesting space. I'd love to talk a bit about our apps and what we're doing there.
Yeah, please.
We look at what the competitors have out there. There's some really good tech in that space, and we feel that while we're not a tech company, we are quite proud of what we've delivered to our clients and to our talent, to offer similar sort of service and efficiencies for them.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that? Maybe was it the scheduling app you built?
Yeah, sure. So we've built what we call digital marketplace, and it is a strategic initiative of Randstad globally, for more of that contingent space to, depending on the industry you're in, to allow, or I guess, if I could put it this way, looking at your clients and your talent and how they want to interact with you. So that's a key in recruitment is, well, the key question, right? Do we tell them how they should interact with us, or do we offer them, hey, you've got an app here, so if you're to manage your workforce, if you're at a barbecue on a Sunday and someone's, a couple of people are cancelled for a shift tomorrow morning, do you need to go home, jump on the computer and log in, or call your after-hours recruiter to actually find some more people for tomorrow? Or would you like to just go to an app and put a couple of shifts up, which will automatically post out to the talent that we have, and they will pick them up automatically. So we see at the moment, we are providing what the clients and talent want with our apps, backed up by our people, for those that still want to make that phone call or deal with a person rather than technology. How will that be in 10 or 15 years? Probably changed a bit with the new generation coming through. At the moment, we've got a lot of valuable clients who are adjusting to apps and things, but really want to have that personal touch as well. But we do have capability, Josh. We've got what we call a talent app and a client app, and that ability for both, for talent to onboard, go right through most of the process without any interaction with a consultant. Depending on the job, then they might be scheduled for a physical test or a quick interview before they're sent out to site. Once they've passed those compliance pieces, then they're in our system and they're available to pick shifts how they like. They can go on at any time of the day or night, anywhere from 2 or 3 weeks in advance. They can see the shifts that are available at this hospital, this childcare centre, this school, and assign themselves to those shifts. So they get the flexibility of their own work. They might have a holiday coming up and they want some certainty around the next 2 weeks, and they can book themselves into those shifts. They can also have a look from a geographical point of view. I want to shift within a 10K radius of my home or a 50K radius, and have the comfort there. And they will only see the shifts that are available there. What we're working towards in that space is, when I talk to booking.com, is, hey, yes, you've said 50K's radius of your house, hey, but there's a shift over here that's 60K's away and it actually pays $3 extra an hour or $5 extra an hour. Give the opportunity of the choice to the talent there. For the client side, again, once we've got the workforce scheduling within some of our larger blue collar, or most of our blue collar industries or client sites, we've got opportunity to check in, check out at a site. We're just introducing geofencing at the moment. So if a client says, I don't I don't want anyone checking in unless they're 50 meters from the door. We can
Right.
block that to say, hey, you're not actually at the workplace. You need to be a little bit closer. My daughter, who's a student, she works does some casual work at one of the supermarkets, and I love getting our ideas from those apps, because she will have to log into a shift within 20 meters of the door, and
Yeah,
it
right.
has to be before
Nice.
3 minutes after the shift starts, or else they won't be allowed. So it's interesting space.
So, Chris, sounds like you guys are building a lot of this stuff yourselves, right? You're not buying this stuff off the shelf. You guys are custom building these applications in response to market need. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, we are. It is proprietary kit we're building. Quite proud of it. We've got
Yeah.
we do have some ties into our global organisation, so there is a large transformation happening around the tech space, and these will over time, I think, standardise and become an offering. But not every market of Randstad are at the same level at the moment,
Yeah.
and not every market has the demand. We look to Southeast Asia, for example, and we work predominantly in a perm professional space. So while I talk like I have to you guys about the wonderful things happening on the apps, they're not really interested, because they're working more of that perm
Right.
professional space.
And you've built that. I think you've built a lot of that locally, right? That's been under your leadership.
Yes,
Yeah. So congratulations.
that's right.
Yeah. So I think I think what you're saying is your strategy is to almost fast follow and build what you need to. So you're not going to try and copy the AI only, but really find that mix and fast follow with the technology, but have that enterprise level security and compliance and interaction. Right? Is that a fair?
Yeah, that's fair, and we are a fully cloud organization, full cloud globally, with the some of the industry leading security products that building our tech in that space with the with that security, and building for, like I mentioned before, it's our business is our client and our talents. It's not our technology. So we need to deliver to their requirements. A very important part of our organisation is focused on that, the outside in approach, how we're delivering to clients rather than doing what we think's a good idea at the time.
So I saw some really interesting research that was published by Korn Ferry. So I'm interested in your view, and also Tom. So their stats saying more than 4 in 10 companies plan to replace roles with AI, particularly in operations and the back office. So that resonates. It says 58%, and entry level 37%. But they survey 1,670 global talent leaders that while cutting entry level hires may increase savings for 26 and 27, but it can open the doors to a long-term leadership crisis. So I thought that was interesting, because there seems to be a lot of angst out there about graduates being able to find roles, and that seems to be genuine, not only in Australia, I think in the US as well, and whether that's an economy thing or because it's of AI, but it's definitely the perception is, whether you're in recruitment or IT or in legal or professional services, that we can replace that entry level guy with an AI bot, and but at some point that's gonna cut, right? Because who's going to be the next level? So over to you, Tom. Do you want to start, and then I'm interested in your views.
That's a really good
on
point.
this.
Because AI is making everyone more productive, we can all do more, but we don't reduce headcount. So basically, we don't need to absorb as many people as we used to, right? That's sort of what I'm seeing going on. And then the other thing is, people don't know, they get graduates in, they don't know what to do with them anymore. The graduate path people used to follow, those jobs are kind of evaporating really. Those shitty jobs that everyone had to do when they started work they're just not there anymore. So no one knows what to do with the graduates, but they kind of know that they need them to fill the pipeline. We have an aging workforce, right, that no one ever talks about. We have this ridiculously aging workforce. And also, young people bring young people ideas into your workforce. They bring a whole bunch of new ideas that are often better, and they will be what you'll be doing in 10 years. So I feel that, it's hard to bring in students because the path has changed, but if you don't do it, it's at your own peril, right? Chris, do you see something similar to that as well?
Yeah, it's an interesting report, but it's topical, right? It's everyone's sort of talking about it. I think the entry level role, like I mentioned earlier, has changed for me over years, and yes, it's changing, and tech will take some of that, and the requirement of the role will change, or the industry. I think from a student point of view, tertiary education, to talk to my kids are going through that at the moment, talk to them about, hey, what are you looking to do career-wise, and think about 10 years, 15 years, is technology going to, is that safe from technology, that role? And I think it's really important. People who are coming out of the system now, yes, maybe some of the roles that they had pictured themselves going into may not be there, but there's certainly, I don't see, a good point on the aging workforce, Tom. The actual workforce is diminishing somewhat in a lot of countries. Just read some interesting reports earlier on Japan and what they're doing to tackle that. We've got immigration and things to help it, but I think the jobs will change, but they'll be there in some format. I did. We had an engagement with the University of Sydney recently where we had a group of, or many groups of students in their third year run some projects with us, and they came in and we gave them some challenges around recruitment, and it was really interesting what they went out and came back with in regards to solutions, and talking about how they want to find jobs and how they would want to interact. This is a Gen Z population. And they were put dashboards together from a recruitment point of view on finding clients using deep research from Gemini and things like that to research the industry, and really, really smart kids. I was really blown away by what they presented. There were 7 groups presented, CV formatting stuff that I'd mentioned earlier. They were talking about putting it on the edge of a website rather than having it here at a consultant's desk, so that before the CV even reaches your company, it's already formatted and ready to go. So great solutions. I came out of that engagement really confident in the future of the workforce, and I don't think the fact that they won't be running around Windows 98 machines updating McAfee virus software will bother them too much.
It sounds like we're all a bit screwed. We're going to be a bit redundant, Chris. They sound a lot smarter than us, mate. I was going to say, yeah. So, Chris, what do you think from your own AI work, and what do you think's working? So I know you've got Gemini across all your users. You're building apps. You're doing stuff. What do you think's working? What's not working for you? And also, as we mentioned earlier, you've got a really good handle on your business processes and business engagement. So what's working? What's not working? And what advice can you give to listeners about who are not where you're at, about trying to work out the right AI use cases and how they can adopt it for their organisations?
Yeah, look, I'll start with the last question. So again, just tie it back to your business goals, your strategy. I've had people come up to me and ask me at networking events, or say to me, hey, the business is putting, these are IT directors and CIOs, the business is putting a lot of pressure on me. I'm getting all these demands for why aren't we using AI and where should we be doing it? And my advice to them is, well, I don't have all the answers, is to do exactly that, to track it back to what your business strategy is and where what they want to be doing, and then break down the processes and see where the opportunities are. Don't adopt AI for the sake of adopting it, because you could run into a very expensive engagement and with limited value. Where we're at, I'm pretty excited about the screening part. To be honest, I think the matching we with vendor tools, and we're largely pretty smart in that space, and we've got there's some great companies around that will help with that and develop that tech. So we've just got to make some good choices there. But from a screening point of view, getting that efficiency, taking that workload off your recruiters so that they can be providing that people-to-people value and coaching. And I've used recruiters in the past for job search, and come across some fantastic ones that prepare me so well for an interview and give you the insights and what to do, what not to do, and match you with a great client that suits your interests and your cultural fit. We are, I talked about all the opportunities and the tools. We're using Gemini for all of our employees, and we've just released a certification. It's built with the help of Google, but Randstad University, what we call it a certification. Really, really powerful. And we have, I don't like the word mandate, but we have encouraged everyone to complete that.
So is it an AI usage certification?
It's an AI usage specifically for Gemini. So utilizing tools like your Flash, and where to use deep research, Notebook LM, fantastic tool for chatbots and stuff. I think empowering your people with tools like that, and they're incredibly powerful tools, and it's not just we're using the Google ones. There's some equally good ones out there. And I think we've had this conversation before, Josh, but I think they're leveling up, right? So you've got your big tech players. 6 months ago, Microsoft were ahead, Google caught up, so and so's ahead, but they're really at a level now where the value is really at your perception of a tool that you'd like to use. Empowering your workforce to utilize those, I think, is really, really important. It's going to make them more efficient, allow them to reach the market segments and people and clients, and gather information. You can open up Gemini on the way to a client meeting and walk into the meeting fully up to speed on the latest events of the client, what's happening. Some of our smarter recruiters are using it and this is the tool that's just available to everyone, to research company websites, and it digs into changes. It can sort of access map out some org charts and see where there might be some gaps in the org chart. And they've reached out, and this happened in Japan, I think it was. They reached out to a company and said, "Hey, I see your this particular role has in the past been 2 or 3 people covering that, and it's now 1. How about I've got some great talent here, and would you be interested?" And they placed a couple of people that way. And that was just from a smart recruiter using a tool that really wasn't available 6 months ago, right?
Yeah.
So the value in, there's a huge value in the big systems, but I really feel if we can empower your workforce and and get everyone trained and using the tools, you'll get a lot of success as a business from that.
Yeah, no, really good advice.
Closing comments there, Chris, I think.
Yes. And what about one last one? Sorry, I know we're going over time. You've got too much interesting stuff to say, Chris. The old security, governance, compliance, how you're addressing data protection, what people are putting in, LLMs, what they're taking out, what have you?
Yeah.
Where are you at on that space?
Well, I'm certainly much more comfortable with it now that we're offering Gemini to all of our staff. What that has enabled us to do is put some limitations around some of the other tools which are publicly facing and which you risk sharing client and information unknowingly at times, and sharing it out into the public domain. So with our Gemini tool, we get the power of the tech, but it is ring fenced to our organisation. The models are not learning off our use of the tools, and I'm certainly a lot more comfortable with it that way. When you look more widely at the compliance side, you've just got to research all of the tools that people are using. I think you mentioned Shadow AI earlier. Really important that you utilize what technology and security tools are available to understand what people are using, and then not to discourage the use of them, but to get your security team and your DPO involved and screening those tools and just making sure that, yes, they are an Australian company, but hey, did you know that the data's held out in the US region of GCP or whatever it is? So
yeah.
you do find some surprises with that, and I think ensuring that you're really tight in that space is important, that you're not not taking a sort of a she'll be right approach, because that stuff can come back to bite you, and as a CIO, it should be keeping you up at night.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks so much, Chris. I think that's we've done an hour really easily, and keen to get you back again in a little while and hear what you're doing. But yeah, really interesting work, and yeah, thank you so much for your insights today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah. No, really good, Chris. Great to see someone battling with these issues on the coal face as well. I know a lot of our listeners are dealing with the same issues, so really relevant. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're really advanced. So yeah, thanks very much, Chris. Thanks for joining Leading IT, and thanks everyone out there for listening. If you want to reach out to myself or Tom, we're both on LinkedIn. I'll post Chris's home address and mobile number into the chat for everyone if they want to give him a ring. No, of course I won't. But no, thanks so much, Chris. And obviously, I'm sure people can find you on LinkedIn if they want to have a chat. But thanks everyone out there. Good luck everyone on your AI journeys.